for most teams, so most of these teams, they still got a chance. Some of these are playing, but most collegiate teams, the year is over. And I mean, if we're not talking about bowl games, if you're not talking about the Final Four, there's probably one other thing you are talking about, and that is the transfer portal. The transfer portal is extremely active right now. So many quarterbacks and other players going left and right. So hard to even keep up. So we are going to bring in a couple guys to help us with that very thing. First and foremost, my guy and host, a co-host of Washington Football Weekly, South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer. What up, Will?
Sean, that was evil. Did you hear what you just said? At this time of the year, teams are vying for the bowls and playing, and some of them are not. And so with that, we're going to go talk about the transfer portal. And look who you bring in. Somebody who's all they're doing right now is transfer portaling. That was evil.
I thought it was a good bridge.
But it was also genius at the same time.
Nice segue, yeah.
Let's go. Now, and there's another guy in here that we gotta bring in. Has his show on Monday nights with our guy Anthony Handy, a fan of a team that has only still lost one game in 3 years. The Georgia boy, Mr. Alabama, does what they do. Carter.
Hey, what's up?
What up, baby?
What's happening,
man? Good. We need to hear from you, man. I'm glad you're on this.
I don't think you got that kind of time, man. You don't have that kind of time to hear from me about this.
I love it. And wait, we got one more all the way back from the Navy, from the ships, from being deployed.
All right.
Back here, our guy, Mr. Quack himself, Alec Schomburg. What up, Alec?
Not much. I wish we were bowling, but I saw you Alex's message on that game. Wasn't the outcome he wanted, but you know what? Do you know what makes it sweeter? Georgia's not in it. So I love that.
Hey.
Wow. Bang.
Wow. Hey, brother, I've been quacking on your behalf. All in them.
Because he always came, every time that team played, he always says, where's Mr. Quack? So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna shoot fire.
Hey, that was said with love, man. That was no animosity.
I do give Georgia their credit. They made, for the first time in how many years, a SEC championship game was actually worth watching. It wasn't a blowout. It wasn't no 70-point game, something like nothing.
That's not credit. He's not going to take that as credit. Colin, all you need to say to Alec is you want to ask him what size Penix jersey does he want. That's all you got to say.
Look.
I will say this, and I don't care. I will stand by this. Michael Penix will be a bust in the NFL. He is nothing without top receivers. And don't worry, we exposed him for who he is, and he will be a bust in the NFL. Mark my words.
Wow.
He might be.
Right.
He could
That's
be.
that's also why he didn't win the Heisman. And I'm glad he didn't win the Heisman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course you are. Of course you're glad. Because he's all he kept giving you.
All I gotta say is,
of course you're glad.
He's a person. Bro, Michael Penix is the person who doesn't do all the work and everybody else does everything else for the project, and they get an A, and he just stands back.
Oh,
wow. But Michael Penix is a great example of what the conversation is supposed to be about here, is utilizing that transfer portal and finding new life.
Exactly.
It's all good. We have the Lord and Savior Dylan Gabriel, and Dante Moore is coming home.
Yeah, don't talk to me about that one.
Yeah. So look, let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Will, hey, look, talk to us, Will, because we've been talking about this day in, day out since well before the season was even over. We've been having to go back and forth on who's going where, who's potentially going where for whatever reason. And there are good sides to this, Will, but it's also like, all right, man, I can't get close to anybody. So, what are your thoughts about all the different moves and where people are going?
Yeah. I mean, without a doubt, it is, as everyone describes it, as the wild, wild west. You really are finding the lack of loyalty to programs. You're finding the lack of, I didn't get the chance to play like I thought I would, so I'm out of here type thing. I'm not going to sit around and wait for my opportunities. It's kind of a me first type movement in college football. But I think what it's also showing is, there needs to be some more regulations into place. And then a lot of people hate when that happens, but If you don't have it, you allow for all this, free agency as they're talking about here. But I think there does need to be some type of real strong look into not just what the portal is about, but also when is a good time for the portal? How can you make it so it's not just like as soon as the season ends, boom, boom, boom. And then, how about the fact that like some of these kids played in a bowl game and the very next game, they're like, I'm out. Thank you for the opportunity, but I'm out, and so there really are just no rules behind it right now. So I think they really do need to kind of look at this and trying to put some clarity on it. But, the downside is the fact that there's going to be players that transfer that don't get picked up. And like, what are you going to do now? Because they were looking for a better opportunity. That didn't happen. But then the upside to it is the fact that there are players who do get a chance to extend their careers other places, get a chance to showcase themselves, or they find out that coach that they signed with or that offense isn't a fit, or they've had coaching changes, and that part can be pretty good. You find new life at another program. So, it's not a perfect system at all, but it does provide a little bit of, some additional, excitement here in the month of December.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One thing it does do also is it destroys depth. I mean, Colin, I'm going to come to you because you have seen a lot of activity from your guys as of late with guys leaving, guys potentially decommitting this and this and that. What does it do for a team where you have been the top team the last couple of years, and it's because you don't necessarily have to regain guys. You just reload. You just, next, boom, boom. You know what I mean? It's the next guy up. But when you start to see this, is there any nerves in Athens? You're coming off the loss, and then all of a sudden now some guys are leaving. Is there any nervousness in this, or?
I don't think so. I think it's so much to do about nothing because, I mean, honestly, that the nature of the beast is like when you have these prolific or these top tier football programs, you're going to get all these 5-star players. I mean, there's only 11. There's only so many spots on the field. I mean, you're going to have these guys that are riding the bench and biding their time, and it all just matters if they're willing to bide their time or just jump ship. They'll play that first year or whatever. But now the Raiola situation with the he hasn't taken a collegiate snap yet. So I mean, he was all about Georgia the whole time, and then all of a sudden, what probably made his decision for him was Carson Beck coming back. Because I mean, I think he wanted to be, hit the ground running and want to be a starting quarterback right out of high school, and that wasn't going to happen because Carson Beck's coming back.
Was it ever in doubt? I never thought of Carson Beck as I mean, I just assumed he was going to be back next year.
No. He was thinking about it. He was thinking about leaving. The story that I'm getting is actually, with the NIL money, he's getting paid. He was asking for money. He was asking for around $2 million. Like I think he's getting about $2 million plus. Wow. That's the rumor that I'm hearing. Yeah, and I think he actually asked for upwards around. Well, this may be some rumors, outlandish people talking, but I mean, like upwards around $4 million. But I think it's around $2 million for him to come back.
So you're saying he was thinking about going to the portal, not go to the pro.
he was going to go. Well, yeah, he was going to go to portal. Exactly.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. I did not know that.
Interesting.
Georgia's quarterback? But Georgia's quarterback you'll have now, is he on his sophomore year or is his senior year or junior year?
He was a junior.
He's actually a sophomore now. I mean, no, he could have gone in, but he's a junior now. Yeah, he's a junior.
So that's what confuses me. So the guy that you guys were supposed to get decommits, even though he's gonna be probably a redshirt freshman this year. Like, what do you think is be best for him to learn behind that quarterback?
Here's the thing: he's the number one prospect in the he's number one quarterback. So I mean,
he's the number one quarterback basically. And you look at Nebraska. His dad played at Nebraska, and I believe his uncle's on the coaching staff at Nebraska. So as a legacy kid going there, you're going to get a ton of money.
Yeah.
And a team that's desperate for a quarterback in Nebraska. Basically a boatload of cash.
So basically,
his uncle just got a raise. So his uncle just got a raise at Nebraska.
Yeah, because he got him. Come on, boy. He's like, all you got to do is get him in here.
I do have a question, Colin, about some of these guys that have left Georgia because I've just been seeing so much coming through, leaving Georgia, entering the portal. So who are some of the guys? I mean, I can see I'm looking at the list of the top ones, and they're naming Marvin Jones Jr. and AJ Harris. I don't know who these guys are. So who has come in and who is we could actually have used them.
Well, we just got the number one receiver from Vanderbilt, the one that's in the London McCaffrey, I believe his name is. He just transferred from Vanderbilt to Georgia. But a lot of these guys you see that are leaving the program are guys that haven't gotten much playing time. I mean, I got a list in front of me here. Like these names are foreign to me. I mean, like I really don't know too much about them aside from Vandergriff. Got Smoke Bowie. He didn't have that much playing time. I'm trying to think of C.J. Madden is another kind of a decent player that we had here. And I'm looking at the rest of these guys, but a lot of these guys, I didn't really see too much from. But so we do have, I think, what's the number? I think it's at 26 that have entered the portal. That's that's history for Georgia,
Yeah.
But then again, that's the nature of the beast. I mean, everybody's jumping ship, and that goes to what Will was saying. Or a lot of you guys are saying is like, there's no loyalty. Like, I mean, it started with the coaches, what I'm saying, and then money talks. I understand that, but now, and all that kind of stuff. Now the players are just following suit, in my opinion. They're just going where to. I don't even know really. Is it the playing time or is it the money? I mean, is it?
I mean, I feel like
depending on the kid.
I feel like that's the same thing. Like I've told Alex this, or I'm not sure if he remembers, but the way I saw Dante Moore when he committed to us, then decommitted, went to UCLA. Yep. I told everybody he's gonna regret that decision because if you go to a sorry ass excuse for a school at UCLA over us. Knowing our coaching history, like not good. Granted, we don't go to national championships. Granted, we don't have the best seasons. We always have
they have your former head coach.
I mean, we're always snake bitten in some way, shape, or form every season. I don't know what it is, but he goes to UCLA, doesn't see the great offense that they can give him, and then he sees guys like Bo Nix that can lay up that offense because, like how Oregon runs their offense, it fits well for Dante Moore in Oregon than it was UCLA. So he thought, like, that's how I was like, when he left there, I was like, he's going to regret that. So then we got Dylan Gabriel in the transfer portal. He's like, you know what? Maybe I can learn behind Dylan Gabriel and try to model my game after him. So it's a great, like, trade on. And hopefully that's actually a quarterback we can keep for 3 years and not get another transfer portal quarterback like we had the last 3 years, I think. Actually, no, we had Herbert. But Herbert wasn't a transfer portal. He was actually with us.
So you brought a question that I was curious about. I was really curious to hear from the group. Dylan Gabriel is exactly who I was thinking about. So, like, there's been certain times as players where it makes sense. A&M just lost their coach. Players have jumped ship. That some of that stuff makes sense. You get backups like Colin saying, hey, a lot of these kids at Georgia weren't getting playing time and they weren't on the too deep, so now they're going elsewhere where they can get on there. But something like where Dylan Gabriel goes from big program to big program, this one kind of is a head scratcher to me. I understand the idea of why, but why did he leave Oklahoma?
I got the clear answer for you here. The entire offensive line, the entire starting offensive line for Oklahoma, transfer portal, gone. The offensive coordinator, gone. You lost your 5 guys in front of you and your offensive coordinator, out the door.
Where did the coordinator go?
I believe he's the one that took over at Mississippi State.
I think you're right. Okay.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Who's it? Letty?
I think it was
Letty, yeah.
And what goes with that is like our offensive line recruiting we have coming in this year and the ones that we currently have. Like I'm not sure our transfer portal or ones that declare for the draft. Sadly, Troy Franklin declared for the draft, so that hurts a little bit. That hurts. I'm definitely gonna miss seeing Troy Franklin on Saturdays, but I feel like he saw the opportunity. Saw what Bo
write this name down. Troy Franklin.
Stop.
Write this name down.
Sean.
Yes. He's in Jersey because he's coming to Washington.
Because the sad part is, you're only doing that because I told you wherever he goes, I'm getting his jersey.
That's right.
Same way I do with Herbert. Wherever Herbert went, I got.
I think you're getting ready to get.
Don't you live in Norfolk? Aren't you in Norfolk?
He's in Florida now.
He's in Jacksonville now.
Well, then it would have made sense if he was living still in Norfolk. But okay.
Well, look, hey, Alex.
I'm definitely not. I'm kind of glad I'm out of here.
Oh, yeah. Alec, you're Oregon is prime example of kind of the benefit of the transfer portal. You look over the last couple of years. obviously Bo Nix came to you guys. Then you got Dylan Gabriel coming to you guys. You guys have benefited immensely from the portal. So is it good for that situation if you are maybe a bigger school because you might have more people wanting to come to you?
From what I told Alex, I was like when the whole trend, like with the whole Ty Thompson thing happened, I told Alex, I was like, what I think most of these quarterbacks are doing, because they see Oregon going to the Big Ten. Going to the Big Ten helps you more so prepare for the NFL a little bit better. It's either the Big Ten or the SEC helps you out more. So those quarterbacks going to those Big Ten schools or those SEC schools, it helps them build their draft stock in themselves. So I see if it gets us like playoff, you got like a college football playoff, I'll take it. But it's more so for them. It's the same way if a player was to go to Georgia. At Georgia, like most of their players gone to the NFL and are fucking stars. And most of the players that went to Michigan, defensive ends and everything, like Aiden Hutchinson, stars in the NFL. So to get that exposure with those Big Ten schools, it helps them out. So I think it's like a good thing for them in all aspects. I don't see any downside to it.
I can see that. And my thing is, I think, Will, you kind of hit on it. Alex, I'm going to come to you with this one because this directly it kind of affects you. Will, you were talking about how these quarterbacks and to these players, it's like you go here, big name program. Now I'm going to go here, big name program. Colin, we talked about this last year, and Alex, we talked about it. JT Daniels, how many teams he's gone to in the last couple of years?
Hey, Dwan Mathis.
Keaton Slovis. All these guys. So let's come right home because a guy that in your very, very division in the Big Ten and with Ohio State, Will McCord, this guy fought to get the job at the beginning of this year, only has the one loss to you guys. Yeah. And now he's on the way out. And apparently he too, kind of like Beck was kind of thinking about it earlier. So what do you make of this?
It's tough because he was the best quarterback they had. Now they have a 5-star coming in this year and what have it, but they wouldn't even guarantee that he'd have the starting job next year because that was the main thing that him and his dad sat down with Ryan Day. They were discussing next year, and Ryan Day was like, well, we have the 5-star coming in and we are looking at the transfer portal. The best we can give you is maybe you can compete for the starting job. And McCord was like, you know what, screw that. I'm out of here, which, I mean, good for him. They're not going to show you any loyalty. Why be loyal to them, as far as I'm concerned? And then he was actually set up to go to Nebraska. That was borderline done deal. And then Raiola goes there.
With one of his receivers.
Yeah. So then he was like, well, okay, like, I'm not going there to try and, like, compete with that 5-star there as well. Same situation as Ohio State at that point. Yeah. Then he's just kind of searching. And it was quiet for a few days there, and all of a sudden he lands with Syracuse. So that's one of those ones where you're at Ohio State, you can maybe go to Nebraska, rebuild that with Matt Rule, and then you're just kind of left stranded. So that's one of those downsides for that transfer portal.
So you're talking about Raiola and that kind of stuff. I think another thing I read about a reason why he didn't end up going to Nebraska, or the reason he went to Nebraska instead of Georgia is like he wasn't able to bring anybody with him. You know, that was something that I had read in things that I passed, you know, just kind of looking around the internet, whatever. But that may have been one of the cases as well. You know, that he wasn't able to bring, you know, anybody with him to be on his on his offense. But you know, just going back, and even though Raiola had changed his mind, we got Ryan. I don't know how you say it. Puglisi. I can't even say his name. I can't. But anyway, we got to replace it for him. So he's another 5-star. And actually, you know what? And it raises a good point. You know, how bad are these? I guess colleges or people trying to get these kids, you know, to come to the college. You know what I mean? And speaking of which, this guy here, he had mentioned that, you know, people had come after him at, you know, crazy. And he said, I'm going to University of Georgia. Like telling all these coaches that I'm going. You're not going to make me change. I'm going. So, it could be that as well. These guys coming after these kids. So,
yeah.
I just can't imagine for Kyle McCord. Like, let's think about what
That's
his
another
decision that he just made.
Kyle
So
McCord.
he comes out, he plays in the horseshoe with
Yep.
100,000 people. He throws his ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, he's got the luxuries of all luxuries.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's just went to Syracuse, where he might have 30,000 people watching his game. Do you make it confused with people walking in saying they want to shoot jumpers instead of practice football in that same location?
Yeah.
That's the type of school he just went to. And who's he going to throw to? It's like, all right, week 1, okay, but come tell me that first weekend in October when he looks around and said, I gave up Ohio State for this?
Well, I mean,
and,
at the same time, I don't blame him for leaving, because you look at everything he posted or anything that was posted about him after that loss to Michigan was fans being like, when are you leaving? Are you packing your bags?
Wow.
Where's the Ohio State quarterback? Like, they were just dogging on him. And it was like, yes, he didn't play great in that game, but he still got you to 11-1.
Right.
Like that, to hate on that guy, yeah, I disagreed with that.
Well, we did. Our defensive back coach actually just went to Syracuse. So
he's their new head coach.
Yeah.
He is.
I definitely want to hear. I definitely want to hear Will's rebuttal.
Big Ten prepares you for the NFL.
Oh, well, only if it's time. Well, so it was interesting. So I was listening to some sports talk down here in the dirty South here, and they were talking about Talia Tagovailoa announcing that he's going pro. They're like, he's a good quarterback. He made Maryland, good, but when you have to go against Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, he goes, you really don't have a chance to be great. But they go, but if you think about it, when was the last time the Big Ten really produced a good NFL quarterback? And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what?
Yep.
I'm actually kind of struggling with that. All this talk. So like Alex was like, well, you go to the Big Ten, it prepares you for the NFL because you see some more running and smash mouth. But then it's also like, wait a minute, actually, though. We talk about this, but who was the last Big Ten quarterback that really excelled in the pros? I mean, right off the top of my head, I'm like, Kirk Cousins.
I mean, Cousins would be one of the main
Cousins
ones.
is the best.
It was just a thought that I too had that same thought of like the Big Ten prepares you. Like, but does it?
Now, I mean, we do have two of the greatest quarterbacks ever in the NFL to come from the Big Ten. I will give you that. Breeze and Brady. Both.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
Yeah.
But year in and year out, where
as
are
of
the
late,
quarterbacks and stuff?
Hey, Kyle Orton.
Yeah, we're not.
They mentioned, they actually talked about how Purdue is like the quarterback factory of the Big Ten.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, if you look historically, just that most schools in NFL quarterbacks, Purdue is actually up there, believe it or not.
Right.
And Aiden O'Connell now.
Right. Balling out.
Yeah.
Definitely on Thursday, yeah.
All right. Real quick, let's wrap. We're gonna put a button on this thing, and we'll put out this comment. Transfer portal is nothing more than free agency. Is that comment wrong? Anybody?
I'll dive in here. It isn't. It couldn't be more true. I mean, I'll give you an example. One player, Cam Ward, hadn't said anything about the transfer portal, and there was, I think it was between 5 and 10 schools. I think the number was actually 8 schools had said, like, contacted him directly and said, if you enter the transfer portal, we'll give you north of $1 million. He was still committed to Washington State, still hadn't said anything about the portal, and something like 8 schools were like, if you leave, you got north of $1 million to come here. And then he goes in, and now we're down to like 2 schools that he's dealing with. So it's just like, I mean, it's free agency with tampering on top of that.
Right.
Is this transfer portal, and it's
now,
wild.
aren't those 2 schools he's considering right now? They're like Florida State and Louisville. Like, I mean, he's got some good options.
That's one Lele. Florida State is for Ward, still one of them.
Yeah, or Ohio State could be one.
No, Ohio State's out, from what I've been hearing. Yeah. He pushed Ohio State out.
Oh, okay.
I think Miami's the other one. He just had a visit with Miami this past weekend and raved about the coaching staff and the offense, and sounded very excited. So don't be surprised if Cam Ward's in Miami.
Yeah, that was the other school. You're right. No, you're right. I mean,
it's basically like free agency without like a commitment for like a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't not sign a contract without
no real contract. Yeah,
contract. Yeah. Yeah, so you can. It's open ended. It's like an open ended plane ticket. Yeah, you don't play good, or you don't get what you want this year. I'll go somewhere else. You know,
constant 1 year contracts,
and we'll give you money to do it. You know, just hey, you want some cash? Come here. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. There's no. That's the thing is there's still no limit, right? There's still no limit as to how many times you can transfer. There's no limit.
I thought they said you can go one time as an undergrad, one time as a grad, right?
Yeah.
And you can transfer other times within that, but you're not guaranteed eligibility right away.
Right.
Those are just for immediate eligibility.
This is after JT and then Dwan and all those guys have done what they've done already, right?
Yeah. Now this is something that's coming to
because
it was still before that, but they just gave out eligibility like candy on Halloween.
They didn't care. The damn quarterbacks, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, look now. There's other quarterbacks that have been in college for like 6 years besides my boy Stequavia. So
yeah,
let's keep him off back. Get off his back a little bit. He doesn't have a degree, which I mean you can get on him about that. But I still find that impressive. How the hell
got two rings? Got 2 rings.
But no degree.
Yeah.
6 years, no degree. I mean, they had.
Matt Leinart even got degrees when he was taking ballroom dancing.
Exactly. Badminton and basketball, and whatever. You still got to graduate somehow.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
It's impressive.
Yeah. No, I think the question is yes, it is free agency right now. There's some positives to it, giving players an opportunity, but yeah, Alex's story of players of schools poaching players before it even starts. That's a problem. Remember, we all know Nathan and how chapped he got to hear that Talia was offered like $1 million by an SEC school and how frustrated, how angry he got about that. Right. Of course, it was Alabama. But it's like so some of that stuff absolutely is where they've got to put some. So they got to put the hammer down on that. But when it comes to if you give players an opportunity to seek other chances, I like it. I like the portal. I like the ability to bolt. I've never thought it was fair that a coach can leave at any time. Yeah. They can break their contract, but yet a player is stuck there when he signed for a specific system. If that leaves, that should be an automatic. You're allowed to go seek elsewhere. There really were that the previous system was broken. This one isn't a complete fix, but I do like the ability for players to seek other opportunities.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Alec, what do you think, man?
Well, I definitely agree with that statement. As of what everything Alex told me, or Alex heard, I definitely agree with that statement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it bothers me that they go after these guys like out of high school, kind of as hard as they do, with the money, with the the flashiness and that kind of stuff. Hey, but I mean, how are you going to curtail that? I don't really know, because these kids are going to go. If they don't have anybody like an accountant or somebody that kind of an agent. That's the thing is that these kids coming out of high school are going to have some type of an agent or somebody looking after them. Because they're going to get destroyed.
Yeah, that's why I like the way
for us. I was saying we had, like, speaking from a team that's had multiple transfer quarterbacks minus Mariota and Herbert. Yeah, I can agree with that, because we've had Mariota, then went to Vernon Adams, and then Justin Herbert, then went from Herbert to Alex is gonna laugh at this name because I fucking hate this dude till the death of me. Anthony Brown, wasted talent, talent, and then you go to Bo Nix. Now you're going to Dylan Gabriel. But I'm hoping past that they build around Dante Moore.
It'll be Dante Moore.
Like
It'll be more.
Like he's given the prime opportunity to learn and then stay with that team for 3 years, and hopefully by that how our trend goes, we'll probably get a transfer quarterback past that point.
Yeah,
but that's part of the problem.
Exactly. Yep.
It really.
The one thing I will say with the NIL, I really like the way Michigan does it, because they don't pay these kids right out of high school. It's you get here, you earn it, then we'll give it to you.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, that's absolutely how it should be. I love that that's how they do it. And it seems to be working. They still recruit just fine. So I wish that was kind of the way it was across the board. It's never going to be that way, but
it could. They could put some regulations on it.
I mean, yeah, it might get that way down the road, but that's not happening anytime soon.
That would solve the loyalty problem. You know what I mean? It's like keep these kids at least 1 or 2 years, and then instead of just putting
you got to think there'd be some type of collective bargaining on the player side, though.
That's the thing, but that's the thing. Yeah. At the end of the day, they never wanted this. They didn't want to pay the players. They had a great system where they could sit here and get these guys in with all this talent under the guise of you're getting an education. Where else could you get this education? And then then we can totally exploit you. And that they did not want that. The only reason that they're doing it is because they're guys like we saw in 30 for 30 with Eric Dickerson, where Texas A&M gave him the car, and he said, "I don't want to play for them." But they can't take it back and renege on the deal because it's like they don't know why they gave him the car. It was a part of the boost to come
under the table. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So they wanted to have some tax on it. They wanted to get a little more regulation. Yeah.
So, Sean, you bring up a great point about the cars and stuff. One thing that we don't hear a lot about is talking about where is this money coming from and what are they getting out of it. The example that they had here in South Carolina, so Juice Wells was considering going pro after he burst onto the scene the previous year. He got paid to stay here play for this season. He got hurt. He played in what? I don't know, a quarter of the for one game for the entire season. So that booster that paid him all that money got nothing in return.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, where was your return on investment on that? And then he just bolted and went to another school. So, it's like part of this, and I couldn't care less that whoever paid that guy didn't get something out of it, because I was like, I'm also not going to feel bad for these boosters who put up, a ton of money and then the players leave and stuff like that. But it's like, no one's talking about where's the money coming from or what happens in situations where if a player gets hurt, blows out his knee in the first game, what happens to that money? Is it a contract throughout the season or is it an upfront? Here's your check type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, those guys have deep pockets, man. I don't think there's any shortage of money coming in anytime soon with those guys. But
that's why I think they should go for what. And I'm glad Chip Kelly finally hopped in on this because for the longest time it's been Harbaugh's the only coach going for this. But that revenue sharing for the players, give them chunks of that TV deal. It doesn't even have to be much because they're not getting anything from it right now.
Right.
Take 5% of that, 10% of that, whatever. And split that amongst the players.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you look at, for example, the Big Ten, because that's the TV deal I know off the top of my head. They're getting like $24 million a year for TV rights.
Yeah.
You take 10% of that, $2.4 million, and you split that amongst 100 players. I mean, you're telling me those players aren't going to be happy with an extra $200,000?
Like,
come on now,
right?
Come on,
absolutely,
now. Yeah. And one of the other things that I love that Chip Kelly said was we also have to kind of separate the football from the other sports because, like you said, football is once a week. So if we got to travel across country, it really doesn't affect these guys as much as some of these other sports that play multiple games and then they have to travel all the way across country to do that. And they might not even be getting the same kind of benefits that the football team is getting. So it's just not fair all the way across the board. So they got to think about these things when you start talking about regulations and,
like you're going to have UCLA have to travel midweek to go play Rutgers in basketball and then come back and go to school and I loved that idea of football being independent from the rest of the sports, having their own little commissioner, their own deal, and leave the other sports alone for those schools. Because football is that different beast. You play once a week. You don't play 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Even twice a week when you're going cross country like that is awful. You got to look at the student part of the student athlete when you're looking at this.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and put put a knot on this one. It's been great. I absolutely love that we were able to come out here and have this conversation. And look, this conversation is nowhere near over. We're going to continue to have this all throughout. Put a bow on it. Thank you very much.
Put a knot on it.
As I was saying it, I was like, wait a minute. What is it?
I was just leaving it alone.
and also it's Kyle McCord. I think I might have said
you said Will McCord. I figured because I asked the question or brought it up. Man,
John, what's up, man? You use that as an edit.
I will edit all that out. All right. We have to give a special thanks to our guys, South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer, host of This Week in Georgia Football, Mr. Colin P. from the DMV, and Mr. Quack Quack himself, our guy, Alex Schomburg. Yeah, buddy. Hey, Alec, are you gonna be deployed anytime soon? Are you back for a while, or what's your status?
Here for like a day, and then leave February for like a week.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to deployment in, I want to say September for like 7 months.
Okay.
Well, yeah, just let us know, man. And we'll soon before we go on, we'll be able to throw you the link and get you on here. All right, people.
I got you.
Respect. All right, people, because we got to talk about these games. Yeah. All right, we got to head out of here. This is College Football Update. If you are not busy, definitely stay tuned. Right after this, Let's Talk Football. The Roundtable will be coming on. I'm doing double duty tonight, so I will be on there as well.
Got a question for Alex. What's that 1480, bro? Was that 1480?
The last time Ohio State beat Michigan.
Okay. Respect. Yeah. Gotcha. Respect. You know I'm Maize and Blue, man, all day long.
There we go. All right, man. We're out of here, people. Have a good evening. Happy Tuesday.
College Football Update with your host,